All right. So what we talked about at Leadership Friday night were actually a couple of things. I sent along the PowerPoints, and I also sent a video that sort of introduced what we were talking about. And hopefully you've watched that video because it was a very,
You don't want to show it again?
I haven't got it on your computer. I've only got it on mine. It was a very unique approach to why your why is so important. And when we started talking about that and thinking about what are the things that we need to think about in our business, it kind of set the stage for where we were going with all of that. Um,
And I think that the piece that was really shared with that video was this is the way we kind of take our Shackley business. But if it's a really strong why, that second part shows the difference on how we take our Shackley business.
exactly. Well said, my dear. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we ask everybody, and I'm not going to take time for you to do this now, but I encourage you to do it if you haven't after the meeting. Just take a moment and write down why you originally decided to build this business, why it's important to you, and if your why has changed, how has it changed? And how do you look at the business today? We've heard this over and over and over for decades. Why is so important because the how comes along for the ride as long as the why is there. So take a few minutes, go through that, think about it, get serious about it, and take a look at where you're going with your business right now. But the other thing we did is I wanted to share with you a very simple business comp plan presentation because Roger's goal when he changed the comp plan was to simplify it. Well, we have all come to the realization that the front end is very simple. The back end is about 6 times more complex than what we had.
Yes.
So the reality is, if we're introducing somebody new, there's no point in trying to explain the back end. Number one, because most of us probably couldn't explain it anyway without going into such extraordinary detail and depth that people's eyes would just glaze over and they'd be on another planet. So when I share the comp plan with somebody, all I'm really going to share is the front end and a brief mention of the back end. And it looks like this. We start with Star Club bonuses, and I hope you all were paying attention to the mission call, I guess it was last week, where they talked about the change in Star Club bonuses, where if you sponsor a minimum of 3 people and at least $500 in volume between those 3 people, doesn't matter if it takes 4 people to get your 500 or 5 to get 500, as long as there's a minimum of 3 people and $500 sold during the month, you now earn a $50 Star Club bonus if they are all members. And if at least one of them is an ambassador, it's a $75 Star Club bonus. So before it was just $75 no matter what the mix was. Now the star bonus has to be an ambassador in there in order to get the $75. They can do that up to 5 times each month. So that's a significant chunk of change right there if somebody jumps on board, gets serious, and starts moving ahead. And for any of you who listened to this morning's mission call, the young lady who was sharing how she was brought into Shackley by Emily Ford in her organization, how quickly she grew and how quickly she has grown other directors in the first 90 days. It's very, very impressive. You need to listen to that call if you haven't. But it all starts with Star Club bonuses. Secondly, they will earn 30% on everything that anybody orders their first 30 days in the business. That's a big chunk of change. And the nice part about that is it's simple. If somebody orders $500 in their first 30 days, they get 30%. That's $150. Easy peasy. And then they're going to earn 10 to 40% on repeat customers, and then immediately show them the chart. And I want you to focus on the middle of the chart there, the $3,000 and a minimum of 10 people who order. That's a 25% bonus. And by the way, that's basically a director. So if somebody grows to director in the first 60 days, remember they get a $500 luxury spending spree. If they do it in the first 90 days, which is the pattern that Emily Ford and all of her people are repeating over and over and over again, they're going to be earning 25% at $3,000. That's a $750 bonus. Boom, right there. And then the third thing that you bring up and show them is that if all they want to do is sell products, here's what they're going to earn. And it's interesting that Amber Kuiper, who is one of the people we got to spend a little bit of time with at the Master Summit, she has been and has several people in her organization at 10,000 and 40% for almost 2 years, consistently month after month. And on this morning's call, they showed a whole bunch of people who have been consistently running very significant volumes over a very long period of time. So it's still out there. The opportunity still works. And if all people want to do sell products, look at that. At $10,000 a month and 40%, they're earning $48,000 a year. That's not a bad side gig for somebody who all they wants to do is sell the products because they love the products. And the reality is they don't have to build an organization. But if they do choose to build an organization, the number 3 is for all the ambassadors and customers that are sponsored in their group, they will earn somewhere between 6 and 16%. And obviously it depends on rank and it depends on level and all that kind of stuff, but it's still not inconsequential amounts of money. And I want to show you last year's 2025 income chart from Shaklee. Now, it has been redone in keeping with the FTC being such a pain in the butt about how you communicate things in order to be very transparent and make sure that people really understand what's going on. So it starts at the top of this page because what it shows up here, and this is what the FTC insisted upon, is people really understanding what the percentages are of people who move into the business, who grow in the business, and who do significant things in the business. So of 87% of ambassadors sponsored actually get started. In other words, 13% never do anything. Well, that's no shock or surprise to any of us. 11.7% of those people become builders, and about 1% become executives, and about 1/3% become business masters. Now, if you look at any business on the planet, I don't care if it's real estate, I don't care if it's commercial sales of electronic equipment, I don't care if it's somebody in their own business. When you look at businesses in general, people who make over $100,000 a year, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a pretty typical number for almost any industry out there. Real estate, insurance, I don't care what it is, it's a very small percentage of people who make that kind of income. So I don't think there's any surprises here, but the FTC insists that we let people know that if you look at this income chart and you decide you want to be a master coordinator earning $166,000 or $224,000 a year, there's a very small percentage of people who actually do that. Well, we all know that. We all know that historically, we know it in our own organizations. But what I want you to see on here is that the FTC insisted that they not only share the average income for each rank, but the median income for each rank. And for those of you who are actuaries and statisticians, what that really means is the average is where you take everybody's income and divide by the number of people at that rank. The median is 50% of people make more than that number and 50% of the people make less. So all it says is that's the middle right there of people who are doing it. But the reason I circled this one is because guess what? There's a director, and the average income for a director from last year is $6,600 a year. Now, that's typically for somebody doing minimums in the business, as we all know. But I also want you to look at the high third average and the high 10% average, because some of these numbers are even bigger than what we had seen historically. And to be honest with you, I was actually surprised, because I thought a lot of these new people coming into the company from other organizations would have diluted the pool to the point where many of the numbers would have come down. But if you look over here at the high 10% of presidential masters, that's almost $1.2 million a year. That's pretty extraordinary when you think about it, because that's the high 10%. That's the average of the 10%. That means there's quite a few people earning significantly more than that. Yes, some earning less, but also some earning more. So what I want you to recognize from this chart is the opportunity is still here. There are significant incomes depending on what rank you're at, how long you've been at that rank, how hard you're willing to work. But if you just look at the averages, these are not inconsequential numbers. And when I share the opportunity with people, I am going to show them this chart so they know what's available if they choose to build a team. If they choose not to build a team, there's still very significant income available here as a part-time gig. If they do choose to build a team, they can build a very significant income. Now, before I go any farther, any comments or questions about that?
Show everybody.
Well, I think what's interesting, you can add on that is a sidebar that you can't put on the form. You know, it says this does not consider Shaklee ambassador expenses. It also does not consider Shaklee business owning tax deductions.
That's right.
Which boosts your income dramatically by stretching your dollar a heck of a lot further than just having a W-2 income source. So I think it behooves us to have that conversation eyeball to eyeball with people that if they do have a W-2 income and they're driving a car, as long as they have some type of activity that's related during that commute, you can be writing off all of your mileage deduction for the year, or a significant portion of it, not to mention the multitude of other ways that we can do that. So
great point to emphasize, Scott. I appreciate that.
And we have several people that are building the business or actually got to a level in the business simply for the tax deductions.
Okay, a couple of things I want to cover before we're done. We're doing good on time over here. Kind of the setup, which is something that I've often brought up, is that how many of you know people who lay awake at night worrying about whether or not they're taking the best vitamin on the planet? You know anybody like that? I don't know.
Not a Shaklee person.
Yeah.
But how many of you know people who lay awake at night trying to figure out how they're going to pay the bills or send Mary to college or get the kids to basketball camp this summer, and maybe $500 a month or $1,000 a month would make a huge difference for them?
A lot of people.
There's a lot of people. In fact, let me show you how many of those people are out there, because I went online and got some recent statistics. And it turns out that right now, 60 to 70% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck. And I think it's getting worse. It's not getting better. Roughly 35 to 40% say they would have difficult handling an unexpected $400 to $1,000 expense. And 25 to 35% report having trouble paying monthly bills or carrying growing credit card balances. Nearly 50% of adults have less saved for retirement than they think they'll need. And I'd be willing to bet that what they think they need for retirement is not close to what they actually need. So again, the question, how many people do you think you know that an extra $500 a month would make a huge difference for them? Guess who you're supposed to be inviting to the opportunity call next month.
That's right.
It's those people, okay? And a lot of times people won't share the opportunity because they either don't understand it or can't explain it. They don't know what to do if someone says yes. Well, I can guarantee you that that simple explanation that I gave you earlier is all you need to understand. If someone says yes, we now have systems to plug people into to move them forward. And a lot of people don't believe it because they haven't experienced it yet, or because they haven't done it. In other words, they haven't become a master coordinator. So why would someone else believe it? And of course, Scott added in one Friday night that I should have had on the list. Well, they're just fear rejection. Well, there's a couple of answers to that one. Number one, if you use the 7 magic questions, you never get rejected because you never ask the last question until you know they're going to say yes. But even if they do say no, so what? The reality is that it's not going to kill you. And one of the things we all
Plus, you
know,
planted a seed.
you planted a seed, and I will guarantee you that the reason people are master coordinators is because they heard no more than you did. It's just that simple. So I want you to be thinking about who are the people you can be inviting Monday night, and how are you going to make that invitation? I also sent along a thing that's in the back office. You have access to scripts for texting people, for Facebook posts, for a lot of different ways that you can be inviting people besides just sending that promo that I did for email. But be making your list, thinking about who you should be inviting, and it needs to be personal. Don't go sending some blanket email to 50 different people. I encourage you, send individual emails to people that you think might have an interest in this, and add a personal note to it if you want. Change the wording that you think would be more appropriate for them. But one of the things that the young lady speaking this morning said, and we heard at the Masters Summit over and over and over again, is when they have people launch their business, they are expected to make a minimum of 50 invitations. 50, not 5, not 10, not 12, not 21, 50 invitations. They insist on it with the expectation that somewhere around 10 or 12 will probably attend. Whether it's an in-home event or a Zoom event, their expectations are set for them, but they also have very high expectations for their level of effort if they're serious about growing a business. And I think if not all of us, most of us are in a place where we would like to relaunch our business, see some significant growth, see something happen very dramatically, like so many of these new presidential masters that are knocking the socks off of this thing. So go for it. Try to see if you can come up with 50 people you can invite to be on that Zoom call. And the reality is, if they say no, or if they're not interested, or they say yes and don't show up, no harm, no foul. But that's probably the only way it's going to happen. So, any other thoughts or comments from anybody?
I think after seeing the comp plan broken down simply in the average incomes chart, I'm a lot more comfortable with the comp plan in the sense of sharing it with people. There's a lot more confidence from that.
Great. Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, Scott, because I very honestly, Shaklee hasn't published an income chart like that now for 2 years. Probably because they were trying to comply with the FTC, but I had in the back of my mind, well, they weren't doing it because all the incomes have dropped so dramatically. Well,
Yeah,
guess what? They haven't dropped dramatically, and in several ranks and positions, they went up dramatically. So I think that's pretty exciting to know that, like I said, the opportunity is still there. It's as good as it ever been. And just like Roger told Pansy Chin years ago, even if you don't understand it, he's going to send you the money.
That's fun. That's good.
Well,
Oh.
looking forward to partying with all of you at conference, and it's a one time in a lifetime event. So
What day's the party?
Scott said he's really looking forward to the 70th.
What day are you doing your party? Do you know yet?
Yeah.
Monday night.
Monday night.
Monday night. Okay.
Will it be
Will it be a
Like,
call
just
like
kinda-
this one?
casual?
Bang.
Well, usually most people come right from the meeting.
Yeah.
Well, except Monday night, there's no meetings. That's just
Oh, that's
check-in.
right. Well,
It's
yes,
just
So would it
there
be,
was-
Monday is when everybody's getting
no,
there.
no, no, no.
No?
The day that there's no meetings
you're
is the
right.
Masters event.
You're right. You're right.
The next day is the meetings
Right.
in our party.
Yeah, we think we know where it's going to be. We're not quite sure what time, but we'll let you know as soon as we know.
Great.
Well, let us know how to dress, like snappy casual. Probably.
Come from the meeting.
Come straight from the meeting.
Yeah, we
Whatever
have-
you're wearing at the
Business,
Yeah.
business casual is the expected attire at the meetings.
Okay.
All
Cowboy
right.
boots. Your cowboy
Yeah,
boots,
possibly.
Joanne.
No cowboy boots. Actually, wear cowboy
Yeah,
boots
why
and
not?
cowboy hats. It's Nashville.
There you
Whatever
go.
you're wearing at the meeting. But Roger is a kind of expecting more professional dress at the 70th anniversary.
Yeah.
All
I would
right.
think
Well, let's
so.
see if we can fill out this Zoom next Monday night.
Oh, no, now you said the 29th.
The
Yeah.
9th is
No,
Not
next
next-
Monday night is the opportunity. The 29th is
Jennifer
Jennifer.
Piper.
in both
Oh,
cases.
oh,
invite
oh, oh,
people.
oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, and
in both cases.
yeah, that's what your invite said
Yeah.
today.
So
Yeah.
the 29th
15th.
is the follow-up to the 15th, really.
Right.
I mean, you can get them on the 15th and they're interested, then they've got to hear that call on the.
Yeah,
15th.
exactly.
Right. Thank you.
All right. I'm putting that down.
All right. Good night.
Joanne, I sent you the invite. Also, Sheila.
Yeah, I've already printed
Okay.
it. I've
Okay.
printed the stuff that you sent us today, Rick. Thank you.
All right.
You betcha.
Okay, great.
Good night, everybody.
Night,
All right.
everybody.
Great. Love
Good
you guys.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank
Night.
you. Night, everybody. Bye.